Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. First, before we start, I do want to thank House Majority Leader Joyce Pepin for her service here in the Minnesota Legislature. She's a good friend of mine, and she has worked tirelessly to help the people here in the state of Minnesota. So I want to wish her well on her retirement, and we are definitely going to miss her at the state capitol. I want to start out with thanking my friends for coming down to the Capitol for this very important issue. I want to say I'm extremely disappointed in Governor Dayton and his veto of the supplemental budget bill. That bill had in it our Elder Care and Vulnerable Adult Protection Act, and that was rolled into the supplemental bill, and I'm extremely disappointed that it was vetoed. He said he vetoed it because it didn't go far enough. We only had a short amount of time to get the language correct for this bill. We had 8 weeks from when the Office of the Legislative Auditor gave us their report and till the end of session, so we had 8 weeks to pull this together. We've worked so hard over the last year, meeting with all of the stakeholders, from elder voices to the residents of nursing homes and assisted living, to the facilities, to the Minnesota Department of Health, to the long-term care ombudsman, to the Board of Aging, and then we worked with the House of Representatives to put together a really good comprehensive bill to protect our most vulnerable and our seniors here in the state of Minnesota. So it is extremely disappointed that this bill was vetoed by the governor. I am calling on the governor to call a special session to pass this single issue bill in taking care of our vulnerable adults here in the state of Minnesota. What this bill has in it is very important. Through the last year and traveling throughout the state of Minnesota and talking to people like Kent Edwards and Corey Tanner behind me and these fine folks, cameras in the resident's room, that was extremely important, that if a resident wants to put a camera in their room, they're now able to in this bill that was vetoed by the governor. It would allow for family members to check in on their loved ones if they're in trouble or if they need to see what's going on, or if maybe they just want to stop in and visit their loved one. They can do so by looking through the cameras. It also had money in it for a case management system for the Office of the Health Facility Complaints. And if you remember, the Office of the Health Facility Complaints, the Department of Health agency that oversaw our nursing homes and our assisted living, that was where the core of the whole issue was right there at the Office of Health Facility Complaints. So much so that the Office of the Legislative Auditor, when they did the audit, had to stop mid-term, before the report even came to the legislature, it called an emergency meeting with the governor to say something needs to be done in this office immediately. It was that bad over at the Office of Health Facility Complaints. So what this bill does, it gives money to them for a case management system. But since the governor vetoed, there's no money going to the Office of Health Facility Complaints. So I'm hoping the governor calls a special session so we can get that taken care of. Also, it holds the providers accountable, and it allows them to be fined. It also punishes the perpetrators, and it also had in there to hire more long-term care ombudsmen. These are the mediators throughout the state, so if there is a complaint that the family members or the resident can go to the long-term care ombudsman, which they have been asking for more staff for quite a long time. This allows for 9 more staff to be hired by the ombudsman. But that, again, won't be happening if the governor doesn't call a special session. I am not going to stop just because session ended and the governor vetoed the supplemental bill with the elder care bill in it. I am going to continue to work in this off session. We are going to have the task force for the assisted living licensure. That was a big thing from the elder voices and the consumers, is they wanted a licensing structure set up for the assisted living. And the Office of the Legislative Auditor recommended this, but said it was a huge, huge undertaking, and we couldn't get it done in just the 8 weeks that we had, so we were having a task force. We are going to continue. I'm starting the task force, whether the governor decides to call a special session or not. We will be undertaking this task force with all of the stakeholders to make sure we get this done. Again, I have to say, the governor and his administration got nothing done for the last 8 years. We have proof through emails that they knew about this since 2012, and absolutely nothing was done. And now with vetoing the Elder Care and Vulnerable Adult Act, again, nothing is going to get done. So I'm calling on the governor to call a special session, just a single issue bill we will deal with, so we can get these folks behind me some help. We don't have time to wait. People in our nursing homes and assisted living don't have time to play political games. They need to get something done right now. So Governor Dayton, I do ask you to call a special session to help take care of our most vulnerable and our elderly here in the state of Minnesota. Thank you so much. I do have Corey Tanner here. His mother passed away a few months ago, and he testified at a few of our committee hearings. This was actually a result of what we did get done this year, and we got a lot of stuff done. One, we got the Office of the Legislative Auditor to do the audit, which hadn't been done, which I can't believe hadn't been done in the last 8 years when they knew about the problems. We also got the Financial Exploitation of Vulnerable Adults bill done, so that got done and passed by the governor. But we also have all hands on deck and eyes on the Office of Health Facility Complaints. And Corey Tanner's story of his mother being neglected in her nursing home and being the attention was brought to the Office of the Health Facility Complaints. It was unsubstantiated wrongly, and now Corey Tanner got word yesterday that they are reopening his mother's case. So I'll just let Corey Tanner speak for a while, and I'll go talk to my friends.
Thank you, Senator Housley. Appreciate all the work that she's put into this, and I really call upon the governor to please have a special session for this. Case in point with my mother, with this complaint that I put in February, you know, it came back as they didn't find anything, and I persisted and kept trying and sending in documents, and finally they have reopened the investigation. And I just think right now this is so important at this time, especially with this entire, you know, our society, baby boomers, everyone is going to be in this stage at one time. So now is the time to do it. There's so much focus on it, and please don't let all of this hard work that we've put into this, Senator Housley, and, you know, get this done. Now's the time. So.
Senator, if this bill is so important, and many, many people say it is, why did you put it in a supplemental budget bill with all the other things and not separate it out?
Thank you for the question. I tried to. It was a priority of mine to have it go as a standalone, but that's above my pay grade, and leadership decisions in the 11th hour was to put it in the supplemental bill, and that's where it ended up.
So why should it be the governor's fault that this was vetoed?
Well, this was agreed upon, and everybody voted on it, and it passed bipartisanly off the floor. So it wasn't just a Republican thing. There were Democrats that voted for this too. So I do have Vic Grossman who wants to say one thing. Is that okay? Okay, and then you can. Okay, I'm just gonna turn it like this. Or you can lower it.
Sure.
I think he's still pretty quiet.
Yeah, that's about as low as we can go.
You know what, Vic? There we go.
Okay. My name is Vic Grossman, and while I live in a nursing home, what I have to say I think goes beyond someone living in a nursing home. As all of us get older, we value greatly what independence we have, and therefore assisted living is so important to us. It honors our dignity and our self-worth. Sorry, I got tangled up there. I am a lifelong Democrat, so much so that I have actively campaigned for Senator Richard Cohn, who was also a longtime family friend. When this senator came to our nursing home, and she said, in so many words, I wake up every morning wondering what else I can do for the elderly. I've never forgotten that. I'm her guy. And I urge the governor to reconsider and include her provisions in an Elder Care Act. God bless this senator.
Oh, thank you so much. That was so nice. Thank you, everybody. I know you got to run. Thanks.